Good morning on this Saturday. Thanks for checking in with us here at Atlanta News First Plus as we look over the Midtown skyline where we are warming up. Hope you're making some outdoor plans. We'll check in with First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi in just a moment to make you to help you get prepared for the weekend ahead. Here's a little tease. It is going to be very, very hot out there, but she is tracking all of the details for you. I'm Megan Packer. Good morning. I'm here at Atlanta News First Plus to get you updated on some of the day's top news stories that we are following for you. And the big story that we were tracking all morning long, if you joined us earlier on your TV, is a shooting involving police officers in Cobb County. It happened last night. We do a video from that scene I can pull up here and show you. It happened at a Walgreens. This was, again, in Cobb County. Just before 11:30 last night on Cobb Parkway. You can see our video from the scene here. Police say officers found a wanted man inside of the store and tried talking with him, but things escalated. At some point during what's described as an altercation, officers shot the man, who they say was armed with a gun. At this point, no further details have been released about what led up to the shooting. Police have not identified that man who died, but family and friends who were out at that scene identify him as Nathan Jenkins. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation will look into that shooting. We are waiting on an update from them. We are expecting some preliminary information to be released by the GBI today. This is at least the 48th shooting involving police in the state of Georgia so far this year. A student in Clayton County is in the hospital right now with some very severe injuries after he sprung into action to try to help his mom. 15-year-old DeLon Jackson was at football practice when he saw his mother's car get hit by an SUV. Jackson immediately ran and got his mom to safety, but then he was hit by a car. He has now been in the hospital for 11 days. He's gone through 6 surgeries. He even had his right leg amputated. A 7th surgery is scheduled for Monday to try and save his left foot. So many in that community are thinking of him, and especially his football team, we understand, will be rallying around him. In DeKalb County, police are investigating a shooting last night that left a 20-year-old fighting for his life. He was shot in the head while he was riding in a car. It happened around 10:30 on Woodrow Road near Evans Mill Road. Again, this is in DeKalb County. Police say they found the victim in the passenger seat of a car. They believe somebody fired into that moving car, but they've not shared any information about a suspect who was driving or any other details about that. A rally is planned today in DeKalb County outside of the jail there, demanding justice for Christian Collins. Collins was a veteran who died in his cell in March after falling and hitting his head. This week, his family announced that well-known civil rights attorney Ben Crump will be representing them. The family claims jail staff did nothing for 3 hours after Collins fell. Crews are spending their weekend trying to fix the AC at a DeKalb County middle school. DeKalb County School says there is an issue with one of Peachtree Middle School's central AC units that's impacting 50 rooms, including 30 classrooms. The school has been using portable AC units, or they've moved classes while crews work on the problem. The goal is for all of the repairs to be made by Monday. But you don't want anybody without air conditioning right now in these brutal, brutal temperatures. So we will stay in touch with the school district there. Also not the most pleasant way to start the school year, right, for those kids. But at least they've got the portable units. So those are the stories that we are tracking for you this morning. As we get into the weekend, we'll keep you posted on everything. Keep it right here on this channel. We're also constantly updating our Atlanta News First app with the very latest. We have our team here working for you, even on the weekend. That is what we do. We're also tracking your forecast. So let's look outside again at Midtown. It's looking really nice. I'll bring in First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi to tell us about how hot it will be. That is the not so nice part. It looks pretty, but it will feel quite sticky.
That's right. Yes, hot and humid today. So you were talking about that air conditioning story. Really, hopefully they do get that back up and cranking, because you are going to need the air conditioning today and as we head into this upcoming week. So keep that top of mind. Make sure if you have any plans outside today that you are staying hydrated and maybe finding somewhere that has easy access to air conditioning because it's going to be a very summer-like day today. But thankfully, mostly dry, which is the good news. If you have any outdoor plans, you won't have to worry about rain for the most part. Can't rule out a stray storm. We'll talk about that in a little more detail here in just a couple of minutes. I'm First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi. I hope your day's off to a wonderful start. Let's get you right to the forecast here. No First Alert weather days on the horizon, which is good. However, as we head into the middle of the week, we may have to start issuing a couple of those. And again, I'll explain that in more detail in just a couple of seconds. Let's get through today first. If you have access to a pool, if you are lucky enough to have one in your backyard, it'd be a great place to be today. We'll be in the mid to upper 80s by noon, and then we'll head into the low to mid 90s today. If you are east of the city, from Athens down to Eatonton, it could very well end up in the upper 90s for you through the afternoon. But regardless, it is going to feel like the upper 90s today. Going to feel more like the triple digits, in fact, for areas east of the city. So as I mentioned, from Athens down to Eatonton, your forecast is just a little bit different than most of Metro today because you're closer to a cold front that is draped to our south, kind of draped along the Atlantic coast and curves into central Georgia. So notice even the humidity will stay higher for you tomorrow morning. The closer you are to a cold front that traps in moisture, that adds a little extra lift for increased chances for rain and storms. But that lower humidity will usher in for a lot of us tomorrow morning. It's not going to feel fall-like, but it'll feel a little more comfortable. Through the afternoon, that humidity will start to creep back up, but it'll at least be a little lower than today. And really, any drop in humidity helps with summertime heat, right? So tomorrow will be at least a little more comfortable. Still hot, though. Temperatures in the low 90s with a lot of sunshine. Again, maybe a stray shower. Now, the mostly sunny skies will ultimately lead to clear skies for the evening. So for the Perseid meteor shower, which peaks tomorrow evening, by the way, into Monday morning, you'll be able to see it. This is a meteor shower that has a really high meteor rate, so you have a good chance of seeing them. You do have to get away from the city lights, though, because, of course, the city lights will hinder your ability to see the meteors flying through the sky. You want to look off to the northeast, give your eyes a little time to adjust to the darker conditions, and the peak viewing time will be around 2 a.m. Monday morning, but after sunset, when it gets dark all the way through just before dawn on Monday, which is around 6:30 a.m., you will have a chance to see these. So if you're into that, our viewing conditions will be good for it. So go give a look up in the sky as we head into Monday or Sunday evening into Monday morning. Now, as we head into the middle and late part of the week, we're going to have that ring of fire set up. So we'll have a very strong ridge of high pressure build out to our west. That's going to really cook the desert southwest and the central portion of the United States. They're going to be very hot. We'll be on the edge of that. This happened a lot for us in the spring and the summertime, where we get those thunderstorm complexes to roll in from north to south. They usually carry very heavy rain and damaging straight line winds. So that's what we'll be watching mid to late week. These are very difficult to forecast. Models struggle forecasting them when it comes to timing and placement. So it's way too far out to determine who's going to get impacted by this, when they're going to roll in, but those details will come in the middle to late part of the week. But I will tell you that these kinds of setups are notorious for producing severe weather, so that's something we'll be watching really for just damaging straight line winds, which still could be dangerous within itself. Notice it's going to up our rain chance just to about 30% mid to late week. That could go up and down again, just depending on where we see fit or where we see these storm complexes are going to set up. So those rain chances could go up as we get closer to the week. So mid to late week, definitely candidates for First Alert weather days, but right now it's just a little too far out to be confident in exactly how that's going to set up for us. Now, also midweek, we're going to be watching this Invest 98L developing in the central Atlantic. And I'm actually going to check the National Hurricane Center website really quick because it might have changed. No, it's still 80%. So 80% chance of development on this particular wave that's looking pretty healthy, and it will approach the Windward Islands as we head into Wednesday. Could potentially impact Puerto Rico. So if you did have travel plans to places like Puerto Rico this week, particularly the Wednesday, Thursday timeframe, just know that you're going to get rained on from this more than likely. And I want to put your attention off the African coast as well. It looks like another wave starting to develop and becoming fairly healthy. This is not abnormal. This time of year, you usually get the greatest uptick in tropical activity. So something we'll be watching carefully are the tropics. But nonetheless, 80% chance of development within the next week on this particular invest. That little red zone you're seeing is where that storm could potentially develop. The good news is it doesn't look like this is going to impact us here at home. So we have this very strong ridge of high pressure. It's called the Bermuda High. This was very strong when Debbie developed. So essentially what that did was steer Debbie further off to the west and ultimately into the Gulf and kind of curved it up the Atlantic coast. As we head through the weekend, this is going to start to weaken and retreat off to the east. And so that will help steer Debbie offshore sooner. So essentially, this is a steering current for tropical systems, this Bermuda high, and it will help kind of curve what will ultimately be Ernesto more than likely by midweek, curve that out to sea sooner rather than push it up against the Atlantic coastline. Not only will we have that Bermuda high weakening, but we'll also have a cold front starting to move into the southeast, which could increase our rain chance by the end of the week. Some models are wetter than others with this. So again, we'll keep just a 30% coverage of rain right now for Friday, but that cold front and that high will kind of create a pathway for this storm to ride along that will keep it off the coast. And even looking at our spaghetti models, they're all in pretty good alignment that this is going to move through the Windward Islands or the Windward Islands, and then move off to the north before hitting the Bahamas. However, some models do have it making a direct impact on the Bahamas. So still some fine tuning to do here. That's natural when something hasn't developed yet. But right now, most models are confident that this is not going to impact Florida or the Atlantic coast or the Gulf Coast. So that's good news because, of course, we just got rid of Debbie. So we don't need another tropical system within a week. But thankfully, that's not looking to be the case for us here at home. But we'll still keep an eye on it. Here's like that first alert 7-day forecast. So mid-90s will last, low to mid-90s will last all the way through Tuesday. We'll stay mostly dry. Can't rule out an isolated storm just because it's going to be humid and that cold front's to our south. So, but the rain chance at 10% or less all the way through Tuesday. And then we'll enter into that thunderstorm pattern where we'll have thunderstorm complexes roll in from north to south that could offer us severe weather with some damaging straight line winds and heavy rain that has taken down trees and power lines before when we've been in this setup. So that's something we'll be watching later in the week. But right now, enjoy the weekend. Make sure you're staying cool because it's going to be a hot one with that slightly, emphasis on slightly, lower humidity for tomorrow. That'll be for most of us. The further east you go, the less chance you have at that drier air. All right, everyone. I hope you make some weekend plans. Get out and enjoy it. Summer only lasting about another month and a half. We're 43 days away until fall. Now, of course, that doesn't naturally mean that our temperatures are just going to drop off. But summer's coming to a close. So get out and enjoy the summer-like weather and the summer activities while you can. And until then, we will catch you next time. Be sure to stay here on Atlanta News First Plus, atlantanewsfirst.com, our First Alert weather app. All those tools are great to have to keep updated with your latest headlines and your weather. I hope you make it a wonderful Saturday. We'll catch you here next time.